One of the questions we get asked often is, how long can I make a string of roofline lights? And the answer to that is depending on how much you can push through one of these plugs. These plugs are the limiting factor of your display. These plugs are actually good for 8 amps, but we'll never want to go to the limit of 8 amps or even 7.9 amps. We want to have a nice safety buffer. So as nice safe limits, we'll say about 25-30% below the maximum. So let's call it 5 amps as our safe limit for one of those plugs. What's also important to understand is that the wire in the lights consume about 1 amp for every 100 feet. So if we do the math on there, that means right now it says we could actually put in safely 500 feet. But the problem is that as the lights get older, the wire becomes a little harder and there's more resistance that forms in the wire over time. And so in about 4 years' time, this wire will actually double in resistance, which means that the current draw will be double as well. That means, let's say we have 250 feet of wire, or of lights, we'll call it. We have 250 feet of lights, brand new, that will consume about 2.5 amps. However, in 4 years or so, it will consume about 5 amps. And that is our safe limit. So that's why we always tell people to limit your runs of lights to 250 feet. Mini lights, on the other hand, is completely different story, different circuitry. You can put on 45 strings connected in the series without any issue. If it's any of the colors like red, yellow, orange, which are about half the wattage, you can actually put 90 strings connected in a series. So mini lights is not such a big concern. However, roofline lights or anything that's using the SPT2 wire, your limit will be 250 feet. And I should say it includes the extension cord as well, because remember, the plug is the bottleneck. Let's say we have 250 feet of Christmas lights and we have maybe an extra 20 feet of extension cable. You've actually exceeded your limit because you're going to have one of these plugs down here plugged into the side of the home. On the extreme side of things, if we have, let's say we have 249 feet of extension cable, and then we add 1 bulb at the end, you've actually also exceeded your limit, or you met your limit, I should say. So 250 foot limit includes any of the extension of the lights and extension cord as well. One thing to keep in mind is that if we have an electrical outlet here, this is usually rated to about 15 amps on most homes. Some homes, these electrical outlets are rated to 20 amps. So you could have potentially multiple 250 foot strings powered into this electrical outlet. So for example, if we have a really big home and we want to add another 250 feet here, we could run a second extension cable down and plug in right here. So that means if you have a really large project and you've got a nicely located electrical outlet, you could go 250 feet to the left, 250 feet to the right, and not run into any issues. So you can actually power a lot through a single electrical outlet. However, your limiting factor are these zip plugs, which are 8 amps. And of course, we want to make sure we don't exceed their safe limit, which is actually 5 amps. So as a recap, our limit is 250 feet of SPT2 wire. Whether or not there's lights on it or not, it doesn't make a difference. If you have a more complicated project and you need to light something over here, of course, we know that we can put an inline plug here. This is what an inline plug looks like in the middle of the wire. If I'm running additional wire over here, let's say 100 feet of wire, now I need to make sure that the amount of wire on this side of the plug is reduced by 100 as well, so that we have a total of 250 feet being powered through this plug at the bottom. That's our safe limit. There's no fuses in these plugs, so it's really important that you don't exceed the limitations. Always use a safety factor of about 25 or 30%. And what you can also do is, as the lights get older and you have really long extension cord or Christmas light runs out there, put a clamp meter on it and measure to see how many amps it's consuming. If you find yourself getting close to that safe limit of 5 amps, we've got two options in front of us. One, we can replace the wire and put new wire in it. Or two, we can split the load and begin to use additional electrical outlets. So as a recap, we need to make sure that we don't exceed 250 feet. And the reason why we do that is to maintain safe limit of 5 amps or less running through one of these plugs. And hopefully that will reduce your service calls.